We now have Lionel Herring on the set with us. He is the owner of HappyTunes, located in Valley Crossing in downtown beautiful Carrabassett Valley. Thanks for coming in, Lionel.
Yeah, thanks
You're
for
a
having
busy
me.
guy. I can't believe you're here. So thanks.
You just
Who
pulled
did
me
you
out
say
here.
no to come on our set tonight?
I'm not sure I want to reveal his identity right now. He knows because we had to postpone our boot appointment. But no,
wow.
I'm glad. I'm psyched to be here. Great.
Great. So, good winter so far.
So far,
You've been
We're
working
lucky,
too
right?
much to
When,
get out and ski, or have you been able to get out and ski as well?
I'd like to ski some more, but it's a trade-off, right? If I'm skiing more, it means that we're not as busy. It means that there's not as much snow on the ground. It means, so it's good. If I'm not on the hill, it's good. Things are running just fine.
What's new at HappyTunes?
You know, we're obviously, so we're still working a lot. We're tuning a lot of skis because that's what we do really at HappyTunes. That's the first and
Hence the
foremost
name,
thing.
yeah.
HappyTunes, the name says it all. We tune a lot of skis. We fit a lot of boots and fix a lot of things as well. Now we're a ski shop, so we sell things as well. But really, at the end of the day, we want to hang our hats on the service side of the equation.
The service is what everybody does talk about when they talk about HappyTunes.
Yeah.
You've earned a good reputation, Lionel, haven't
Thank you.
you? Both for boot fitting and for racing and for great deals on gear. And now you've got alpine touring stuff. I mean,
That's
you're
right.
all over the map with all the, and for going uphill. I mean, how many different things can you do all at once?
Well, it's just that it seems like you know, folks are looking forward to doing a wider and wider array of things, seeking adventure where they can find it. The mountain's done a great job at expanding, you know, the boundaries, at trying to push out that sense of adventure. So we just need tools now to seek it out. We've been doing a growing amount of backcountry, or maybe I should say side country type gear, and so that usually means, you know, when you think about it, what do you need to go up the hill? You need a pair of skins, and you need a binding that releases at the heel. So in the past, it used to be pretty much telemark, and we do a fair amount of telemark gear at HappyTunes. But it has certainly evolved into more of the backcountry, side country aspect, where manufacturers have come up with some pretty cool boots. I think of them as hybrid boots. You know, it's been the search for the holy grail of trying to find a boot that can go up the hill well enough, that is light enough to go up the hill and well articulated, but that can still go down the hill like a ski boot. And we're getting there. There's some really good offerings now. We tend to play mostly with Lang, Technica, Rossignol, Solomon, Scarpa, Scott boots as well. And all these guys now have
All of them
They
now
all
have that.
have offerings in that
They see which way the wind is blowing, obviously, huh?
For sure, yeah.
And you're noticing that in the shop with inquiries, with people asking for that kind of gear?
Yeah, more and more.
And it
more,
is,
yeah.
it's totally okay here on the mountain.
And the mountain encourages it. It's great. So not only can you now partake on the traditional win-hole day,
Right.
you know, accessing the goods, skin it to earn it, but you can also, yeah, I mean, there's a growing amount of folks who are using it, you know, going up either usually early in the morning. So there's a fitness component to it.
Right.
There's, again, the adventure, I think, of being able to go up in the quiet of the morning and then have basically what turns out to be first tracks on the way down.
Does this kind of gear, you still want to stick to mainly groom trails, or could you use it like up in Jaina Ponds and some of those chutes up there? Or do you mainly want groom stuff? Or do you have stuff for that real backcountry kind of thing?
You could do both. We tend to cater more to the Sugarloaf user,
Right.
right? So it's still a lift service type person that wants to be able to get enough performance out of the gear when they're back on groomed terrain.
Right.
Accessing the goods, but still being able to use it as an everyday type gear
Right.
as well.
So go down
Yeah.
and see what they have.
Yeah, so it means that, you know, now we're geared, and we have been now for years, but, you know, it means lighter skis. It means, again, a wide array of bindings. We do bindings from Dynafit G3, Black Diamond, the new marker bindings as well, Solomon. All these guys have tour-friendly bindings now as well. And obviously skins, adjustable poles, and of course all the boot gear that goes along with it.
You have to make a full commitment, really, if you're going to go that route, don't you?
It's a bit of a commitment, yeah, and
Yeah.
that is the hurdle that one has to overcome. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, what we like to emphasize is, hey, listen, what do you need to go up the hill? You need skins and you need a binding that releases.
Right.
You can use your regular alpine boots, It's not the most comfortable, but you can do it.
Yeah,
and you can put those bindings on any ski, and you'll be able to go up the hill.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, aside from alpine touring, you've got all kinds of. You've always been really good for putting junior kids into racing packages, and grown-up racers too. What's your take on all of that?
We do. So racing is still the core of HappyTunes. That's what we started as. That's what we'll end up as. Racing is my passion. Racing is what I grew up on. So there's always a wide array of equipment there. Again, from the likes of Dynastar, Rossignol, Blizzard, Elan. Elan is the new manufacturer that's coming strong on the scene right now. And of course, with boots, we do a lot of Lang boots, Technica boots as well. More geared towards racing, and that just means that it has a more specific purpose. On the skis, it's either slalom or GS, emphasizing edge hold, emphasizing stability. On boots, it's usually something that is sturdier, something that's going to edge better, something that's, if it's a car, it's something that has a much tighter steering mechanism than the everyday car, more of the sports car.
And because you have a racing background, that's what gives you the expertise in tuning too, obviously, for waxes and all of that. Or?
Where the real expertise comes to play is on tuning. You're right. So our tuning packages are really quite wide. We pride ourselves in putting out skis that are exemplary in performance. We want to bring those skis back to new or better than new, and that we work really, really hard at. That's what we hang our hat on. But not everybody races, for sure. For race tunes, our tunes go anywhere usually between the average tune, complete, ready to ski, is going to end up being $35 to $40. A race tune could be, well, let's see, if I take the extreme, it would be the brand new ski out of the wrapper early in the season that we're going to try to prep for a season's worth of use. And that ends up being more like a $200 tune. So there's a lot more that goes into
what
prepping
goes
that
into
ski.
a $200 prep?
There's quite a bit. The idea is to try to, first and foremost, set up the geometry of the ski. So that's usually talking about edges. It's talking about trying to shape the ski. Skis come out of a mold out of the factory in a fairly generic shape. And there's quite a bit that you can do to try to gain that extra tenth. So we spend a lot of time pulling side walls, reseating them, and then sanding them so that they're, baby smooth.
So if you bought a racing ski, you could make it a racier ski?
You can make it a lot racier ski.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. In the past, the tradition was for true race skis to come out and be delivered a little bit like a blank canvas, being put in the hands of a technician who would know the local conditions, who would know the skier that the ski is intended to, and shape that ski and prep it for those conditions and that skier. A little bit less now. We all seem to be stressed for time, but even the ski that is so-called ready to ski can use a lot of help to make it go faster. Yeah.
So if somebody's not a racer, they could still benefit from having a decent tune job, though, right?
And all this extrapolates into the everyday tune, where, of course, there's some basics here. The ski must be as flat as possible. The edge geometry must be as consistent as possible. Everything needs to be as polished as possible in order for it to ski well. And folks notice it. Folks know it. There's no fooling anybody as far as how a tune works. I laugh when little junior skis come in. They're difficult to tune, and often mom and dad will think, come on, do we really need to do this? Ask your 5-year-old. He'll tell you. He will know. He'll be the one who will be asking for a tune in the future again.
Is there a rule of thumb for how often you should have something tuned? Or does that depend on the conditions?
It depends on the conditions, right? So this year we're enjoying some really, really good conditions. And from what we're seeing, skis tend to start getting out of whack around maybe 12 to 15 skiing days later.
Okay.
Last year was tough. Last year, we'd see skis every 6 to 10 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're lucky. We've just doubled up and easier this year for sure on skis.
Would you say people still need to have a tune, even though we're having a quote-unquote kind of a powdery year? Do you still need to have a tune when we have fresh snow like that, and a lot of it?
Yeah, a tune will benefit you from, there's several characteristics in the tune that'll come into play. First, of course, more snow, the ski is likely to get bogged down. Wax is essential.
Yeah.
Structure how we are going to impart little grooves into the skis that are going to help one repel water, break suction, and manage friction. That's important in the ski. And we're going to do a powder ski a little differently than we're going to do, a hard snow ski. Structure is always an interesting component of how one tunes a ski, and maybe the best analogy would be car tires. You're going to use, if you had the luxury of being able to change your tires on demand, you would put a different tire today now that it's starting to race than you did yesterday when it was all icy, than you would this summer when it's nice and dry.
Right.
And the snow conditions are such that they'll vary like this as well, from dry to wet, to a very harsh icy snow crystal, to a man-made snow crystal. And we can play with imparting different sort of structures in the base that cater best to those conditions.
There isn't really a one wax fits all kind of scenario, or if there is, you're going to compromise on how it works, really, or how's that work?
You'll compromise as far as getting that extra tent, that extra glide, that extra speed. It's easy to overcomplicate things. I would say, if in doubt, you wax. It doesn't matter what you have for it. You just wax it. You'll feed the base. You'll maintain your ski, and they'll be valuable. If you are on the race side of things, yeah, you're going to start paying attention to things like the consistency of the snow, how dry, how wet, temperature fluctuations. Those will come into play. For the everyday skier, it's more just glide, break suction, break friction, and go.
Like you say, ask the 5-year-old. They're going to notice when you
They'll
get a
know.
fresh job, for sure. Yeah. Try before you buy.
Try before you buy. Try before you buy is that great program that people are getting used to enjoying more and more, where you're interested in new skis and you start gathering information and you read through the magazines and you seek your friends' input, but really at the end of the day, nothing replaces the opportunity to try the skis. And so we've made a big commitment starting a few years back now to a large offering of demo skis. We basically demo every ski that we have in the shop, or we try to. And that means that we have a demo fleet of over 100 pairs of skis, which folks really get to enjoy. That I think one of the best way of doing that is trying to take 2 pairs at one time, so you have a little bit of a comparable. We do $40 for the day for 1 pair. But in encouraging people to go with 2 pairs and have that comparable, we'll do $60 for somebody to take 2 pairs. That $60, of course, is applicable towards the purchase of a new pair, should they find either one to their liking. And that, it's, in today's age, beyond all the information that's available, it's the way to go. If you have the opportunity, take the time to, plus it's fun. Demoing skis is fun.
Yeah.
Trying new skis.
I can't imagine buying skis without trying them first, frankly. I mean, it's like buying shoes without trying them on.
It's a little bit like that, that's right. And I mean, presumably you might be able to get something in the vicinity of your aptitude, and then at their skis you're going to get used to it. But there are some differences, and it's nice to be able to compare.
And I think, I say that because I'm lucky. I've lived in a ski town all my life, but a lot of people don't live in ski towns.
Right.
And they may have their ski shop on the corner where they've done their business for years, but you're not going to be able to try before you buy there. So much as you can look at it and bend it and flex it and all of that, you really need to come up here to be able to do what you can do here, so you know you've got under your feet what you want to have under your feet.
Totally. That's the advantage of spending the time while you are at the resort,
right.
Trying out skis. And really between HappyTunes and the ski shop on the mountain, you can try a lot of skis. I mean, it's really pretty cool.
Right.
I'd say, a lot of people are looking at new skis and the latest, and that's what's being plugged in by the magazines, by the media. But it's not for everybody's budget, and a lot of folks are also interested in saving some bucks. So, yes, we know that the internet is, a never-ending resource of available product. But if you are a little bit intent on shopping locally, and we thank you for that, know that at HappyTunes, for instance, there's a room that has all sale skis. There tend to be previous year skis, and they usually go anywhere between 40 to 60% off.
Wow.
And we actually work at trying to keep that room stocked so that there's always that opportunity. So it's true for race skis, like a lot of junior race skis.
Yeah.
A lot of families like to take advantage of that. Yeah. But it's also true for all mountain skis and even some powder skis.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a good way to maybe get an extra pair of skis that you wouldn't necessarily get it to add to your repertoire.
Totally. I'm finding more and more folks like to have, more than one pair of skis.
Yeah.
The conditions change quickly enough. It's nice to have a quiver of different skis.
They sure do.
Yeah.
And also want to get a quick plug in for your summer adventures, because Lionel, we know we got families here this weekend, and people kind of forget that we have summertime up here, but we have actually the most awesome summers ever. And you do about the most awesome thing to do in the summertime, as far as I'm concerned. Share with some of our viewers what your summer gig is.
The summer. I love summer. So in the summer, indeed, we have the good fortune of being able to close the shop, and we take to the woods. So it has a different name because things need a name. It's called Maine Kayak Expeditions, but one would contact me at HappyTunes. And we take to the woods. We use either whitewater kayaking or ocean kayaking as the medium to kind of create the experience, on top, of course, of the traditional wilderness trip experience. So it's the trips vary usually between a week to 3 weeks at a time. We do this a little bit everywhere in Maine. And you're right. If you didn't know it, you must experience summer in Maine, and you must take to the woods. And if you can get your kids to take to the woods, it will impact them for the rest of their
Save
lives.
the planet, ultimately.
Powerful
What
experiences.
age kids are we talking about?
So because of some equipment restrictions, I do, the youngest age group is usually 13 years old,
Right.
13 and up. Obviously adults, doesn't matter, that can go all the way into the 80s, but for youth trips, it's usually 13 years old.
And you're
up.
camping out at night?
And we're camping out. It's the wilderness trip model, where you take everything that you need along with you, and if you forgot it, you learn how to deal without it, and it's not a problem to deal without it, it seems. And we take, we just set ourselves up for, again, 1 to usually 3 weeks at a time.
And you can have total novices to more advanced paddlers?
So depending on the trips, most of the trips that are due require no previous experience in either the skill set, whether it's camping or kayaking in this case. And we just start right at the beginning and bring the group along, trying to make it as experiential as possible. The name of the game is for kids really to be involved. So I mean, they're cooking, they're planning the itinerary, they're really designing their trip. Developing a greater sense of ownership as the days go by. It's their trip, which this is really what makes it that sort of powerful experience.
It's more than just about the paddling, isn't it?
It's a lot more than the
More
paddling.
about paddling.
Yeah.
So get in touch with Lionel if you have a teenager in your house, really, to sign them up for those summer trips, because they're especially for teenagers, aren't they?
Especially for teenagers, yeah.
Get them outdoors.
And the best time to do this, it's usually right around March.
You start
The
registration.
phone starts ringing, and they're small groups, so space is always a bit limited.
So that's why we're putting the word up early. Get in early so you can not miss on next summer. But in the meantime, get on down to HappyTunes, because Lionel is the expert, and you aren't going to find that kind of service probably anywhere else with the knowledge and the friendly smile to go with it. So thanks for coming in, Lionel. You've always shared so much knowledge with our viewers. You're awesome.
Thank you so much.
And I hope we have a good rest of the winter.
That's right. We're talking summer here, but we're not there yet. Not even close.